So it finally happened. Japan's most popular anime of the season is quite literally a show that aggrandizes pedophilia. And people love it. Well, I could spend an hour talking about how we got here, how a medium once lauded for being among the greats of storytelling gradually turned into the cesspool that it is today. I could talk about how we as a society have created the perfect conditions for shows like Yofukashi no Uta to flourish, about how we now celebrate morbidly obese grown men who spend their days collecting big-tittied action figures of teenage girls. I could do a lot of things, but instead, I'm just going to talk about what this show is and let the evidence speak for itself. Like most anime, Yofukashi no Uta, which I will be referring to from here on out by its English title, Call of the Night, started as a manga that appeared in a magazine called Weekly Shonen Sunday. This is important, because for those of you who don't know, shonen means young boy, and in the context of the industry it refers to manga and anime targeted at young males between the ages of 12 and 18. Right now in 2022, Call of the Night is an ongoing anime, having first aired in early July. So what's this show about? Well, in short, it's about a 14-year-old boy who won't go to school because a girl asked him out and he turned her down, leading to him getting very minorly pestered by other girls at his school. So naturally, instead of talking to someone about what happened or just forgetting about it and moving on, he decides to quit school, and no one seems to have a problem with this. We get the information early on that he has trouble sleeping, so young Ko decides to sneak out at night and go for a stroll. During his big night out, he is approached by a vampire named Nazuna who seduces him, taking him back to her home to suck his blood. Now at this point I should mention that Nazuna has been drawn like someone of a similar age to Ko, and as she is an actual monster, I didn't really care that she was luring her prey in to feed. After all, that's what monsters do, and I'm sure if vampires really did exist, they'd probably do what Nazuna was doing. Little does Nazuna know that Ko is still awake when she starts feeding on him, leading to the revelation that she is indeed a vampire, and that she brought him there to feed. Then, the big revelation comes. Nazuna reveals to Ko, who is now wanting to become a vampire, that you can only become one by falling in love with the vampire that bites you. Wait, doesn't this mean that Nazuna was in love with someone when she was bitten? Whatever, it doesn't matter. So Ko declares his intent to fall in love with Nazuna so he can become a vampire, and Nazuna just goes along with it. In fact, everyone in this show goes along with it. And then something happens. Ko asks Nazuna for her number, and Nazuna brings out a cell phone that looks like it was made circa 1984 and weighs 8 pounds, which got me thinking, how old is Nazuna anyway? That's right. She's a 40-year-old woman. She could easily be Ko's mother. And now she is freely inviting a 14-year-old boy out on a nightly basis to give him the suck, and let him fall in love with her so he can ruin his life and live with the consequences for all eternity. The show doesn't even try to hide it. The atmosphere is so colorful and neon. The music gets so upbeat and relaxing. It's like you're slipping into a nice warm bath of pedophilia and grooming, and nothing could be more natural than that. Oh, and speaking of baths, we are then introduced to the character of Akira, Ko's busty 14-year-old classmate, who we get to see take a bath in the first episode she's introduced. Did I mention that this has an 8 out of 10 average review on my anime list, with over 13,000 votes? Because it does. Akira is presented as a more realistic and level-headed friend, and you'd be forgiven for thinking she'd be the one that smacks Ko over the head and tells him to give this up. But no, she decides to celebrate Ko's life choices and encourages him to be who he wants to be. Wow, what a great friend. Remember, this is a shonen show. This means that it's targeted at pubescent boys. This isn't a show meant for adults who have a good grasp of right and wrong. It's meant for kids. Let that sink in for a bit. Anyway, I don't really want to talk about this steaming heap of garbage any longer than I have to, so here's the plain and simple. Don't watch this show. If you're a parent who has kids who like anime, don't let them watch this show. If anything, you should be calling Leiden Films and Fuji TV and complaining to them for even letting something like this on the air. That's it from me. The next episode of the book club should be up by late next week. See you in the next one.